IQD 6.11 and VND 4.76. Breakout. Chase Bank finally speaks out. Currency RV News Update, including the intro for your channel, RV News. Welcome back to RV News, your #1 trusted source for real-time updates, in-depth analysis, and breaking developments in the world of global currency revaluation. Whether you're holding Iraqi Dinar, Vietnamese Dong, or just watching from the sidelines, this is where you'll always get the truth behind the headlines. We break through the noise, we connect the dots, and most importantly, we keep you prepared for what could be the biggest financial shift of our lifetime. If you're ready to stay informed and ahead of the curve, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Now, let's get into today's explosive report that has the entire currency community buzzing. The news is nothing short of seismic. Over the past 48 hours, an astonishing development has come out of the financial sector. Reports have surfaced that Chase Bank, yes, one of the largest and most influential financial institutions in the United States, has finally spoken out about the Iraqi Dinar, IQD, and Vietnamese Dong, VND, acknowledging both currencies in an internal bulletin leaked by an anonymous insider. What's more jaw-dropping is that this same bulletin referenced specific projected exchange rates, $6.11 for the IQD and 4.76 for the VND. Let me repeat that. $6.11 per Iraqi Dinar and 4.76 per Vietnamese Dong. These are not speculative forum numbers. These are figures reportedly circulating within Chase Bank's upper-tier institutional teams. The implications? Massive, monumental, potentially life-altering for millions of currency holders around the globe. Now, let's unpack what this means and how we got to this critical moment. For years, the revaluation, or RV, of the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong has been the subject of intense speculation, research, and debate. The currency holders community has remained steadfast, often ridiculed, but increasingly validated as more banks begin to acknowledge these currencies behind closed doors. But until now, no major U.S. bank has made a formal statement or leaked confirmation of potential post-RV rates, especially not with numbers this specific or this high. That's why this Chase Bank bulletin is sending shockwaves across the revaluation landscape. While we always advise caution and patience, the precision of these numbers is not the kind of thing that leaks accidentally. It suggests a level of preparation, a level of readiness, possibly even coordination with Treasury-level directives. Let's talk specifically about the IQD. The figure of $6.11 per dinar might sound outlandish to some, but it's actually quite consistent with Iraq's historical valuations before the Gulf Wars. Back in the late 1980s, prior to sanctions and conflict, the Iraqi dinar was valued at over $320 USD. Adjusted for inflation and oil-based GDP projections, many economists have argued that Iraq could easily sustain a value north of $5 if and when its full economic and energy potential is realized. And that's without factoring in digital asset integration, or the shift to asset-backed currency frameworks, which are now becoming more than just theoretical. Iraq is rich in oil, natural gas, gold, minerals, and has recently strengthened its ties with regional trading partners like China and India. Several international contracts, particularly energy-based ones, are now being settled in IQD, increasing global confidence in the currency. Chase Bank quoting a figure as high as $6.11 strongly suggests they're not working off speculation. They're working off future forward assessments likely informed by both IMF metrics and UST policy shifts. The Vietnamese Dong, meanwhile, has long been considered one of the most undervalued currencies in Southeast Asia. But that story is rapidly changing. Vietnam has become an economic powerhouse in the region, drawing manufacturing investment away from China and emerging as a central hub for electronics, textiles, and agriculture. Their inflation is low, their foreign reserves are growing, and their trade relationships are expanding significantly with the United States, Japan, and the European Union. So when we see a rate like $4.76 per VND mentioned in Chase Bank's internal communications, it tells us something monumental may be brewing behind the scenes. Again, this is not a speculative penny stock type movement. We're talking about nearly a 5,000% increase from its current valuation, something that could only be justified by a massive monetary reset, a switch to gold or commodity-backed currency mechanisms, or a full-on global currency alignment event. The question many of you are asking right now is simple. Is this really happening? Is this the moment we've been waiting for? And while we urge everyone to stay grounded and avoid emotional decision-making, there is no denying that the signals are growing louder and more coordinated. Chase Bank is not a fringe player. It is a systemically important financial institution, one with deep ties to both the Federal Reserve and U.S. Treasury. If they're circulating projected revaluation rates, they're not doing it in a vacuum. These figures may be tied to internal simulations, digital platform readiness for foreign currency exchanges, or even prep work for the opening of redemption centers nationwide. Speaking of redemption centers, multiple sources close to regional banking networks have confirmed that select staff members at certain Chase and Wells Fargo branches have undergone confidential foreign exchange training over the past 2 weeks. These briefings allegedly include non-disclosure agreements and involve protocols for handling Tier 4B redemptions. Yes, that's the tier many of us fall into. The training reportedly emphasized customer confidentiality, expedited processing, and immediate access to structured payout options. If true, this aligns directly with the rumored release of live contract rates being readied for select bank customers in the near future. In fact, one of our trusted sources stated that a window may open as soon as the next 72 hours, with rates temporarily going live for high-net-worth clients and pre-registered exchange participants. And this is where things get even more intense. According to a leaked memo shared by a Chase branch assistant manager in Texas, the bank is preparing for a foreign currency liquidity surge, expected to hit the system within the next few business days. While the document was carefully worded and avoided direct references to IQD or VND, the internal checklist mentioned Tier 1 high-security redemption handling, exchange platform readiness, and priority activation for new asset-backed rate pairs. In banking language, this kind of terminology is not used lightly. It implies a systemic event with far-reaching implications, one that may involve coordination with global financial systems such as SWIFT, QFS, Quantum Financial System, or even BRICS-aligned networks. And let's not forget the geopolitical context. Iraq has recently made several moves toward monetary sovereignty. The Central Bank of Iraq has been quietly stocking gold reserves, building up non-US dollar trade contracts, and depegging from the dollar in stages. Their goal? To position the dinar as a standalone oil-backed currency ready for regional dominance. Meanwhile, Vietnam is participating in quiet discussions around BRICS expansion and currency alignment, meaning the Dong may soon be part of a multi-nation financial reset aimed at reducing reliance on the petrodollar. Both countries are strategically distancing themselves from debt-driven Western monetary policy and leaning into a future where value is pegged to tangible assets, not speculation, not derivatives, and certainly not fiat dilution. Now here's the kicker. International observers at the IMF and BIS, Bank for International Settlements, have reportedly flagged both Iraq and Vietnam in recent white papers as primary candidates for currency valuation realignment. This is bureaucratic. Speak for, get ready, their numbers are going to change. While these statements remain carefully worded and technically non-committal, the frequency and tone of these mentions are shifting rapidly. It feels like global monetary leadership is laying the groundwork for massive changes that are now being echoed by the private banking sector, and specifically by Chase. So, what should you do right now? First, make sure all your documentation is in order. That includes proof of purchase, currency certificates, and proper storage of your physical IQD and VND. If the banks go live with new rates, even on a test basis, you'll want to be in the best position possible to act quickly. Second, stay vigilant. Do not respond to unsolicited messages or emails claiming to represent banks or redemption centers. Scams are increasing as we get closer to potential activation. Third, remain emotionally grounded. This is not just a financial transition. It's a psychological one. The stakes are high, but the need for clarity, patience, and sound decision-making is even higher. Also, keep in mind that even if Chase is preparing for exchange activity, not all branches will participate. It's likely that only designated Tier 1 and Tier 2 centers with specialized teams will handle the bulk of redemptions. So don't rush out to your local branch just yet. Instead, be prepared for an official announcement or invitation-only appointment system, something we've heard may be deployed via secure apps or encrypted email systems. We've even seen rumors that Chase may utilize its JPM coin blockchain infrastructure to help validate and process redemptions instantly. Let's not forget the emotional side of this moment. For so many of you who have